in the race. Just let it go now. It's happened. Let's just look forward to this race now. It's wet. It's gonna be fireworks.
It's gonna be a great first corner, like that's for sure. Like the rain, the rivalry. All Bottas has to do for Mercedes is block Verstappen for as long as he can. Let Lewis get 2 or 3 seconds ahead, and then let him go, because by then the soft tires are going to be dead, or not dead, but way more degraded than the mediums. And I mean, they're all going to come in after a lap anyway. Let's face it.
Yeah. Well, I'll be surprised if they don't change on the formation lap.
I mean, if it picks up while they're on the formation lap, there is that chance that they could switch it over to an safety car start. So
yeah, I'm just watching the live feed now, and it's not heavy rain, but it is sprinkling, so it's going to be changeable conditions.
You look at when they do the shot from the chopper, it's definitely heavier a little bit further away if that's blowing over.
Well, they've already said it's 100% chance, so it's probably going to get worse, which explains why Red Bull went on the softs in qualifying, because they knew this was going to happen, and they are absolute geniuses, not idiots at all.
See, I was talking like in group chats after the qualifying that Lewis, was pretty quick, qualified on pole, but I just feel like Red Bull has something up their sleeve. Like Lewis can't be that far ahead, considering he's not even been that close to Max Verstappen the whole season, and now all of a sudden he's half a second ahead. They got something up their sleeves, and
you
guys at Red Bull.
Yeah, well, I was watching the onboard of Max's lap, and it was very messy. It was nowhere near peak performance, and Hamilton just managed to nail it on the first lap, which is what he's best at. So, let him do what he does best, and he'll perform. So, it's just amazing to see 2 great drivers battle it out like they are, and if this is what we're in for the rest of the season, it will go down as the best of the modern era, better than 2012, I think.
I mean, there's only 2 drivers that can win it, but this, like you said, it's going to be a hell of a good battle going all the way to the end. I might just mention, I forgot to say this, as amateur as it gets, this is our live Finding the Gap pre-race show with myself, Jamie Brown, JB on F1, and Dan Morris, Jason's intern. I don't know what Jason has got him to do at all. So,
next to nothing. So, I'm loving life right now.
I'm the one that gets you on the show. These pre-race things, these qualifying live watches, like making content, just producing content. But
oh yes.
So I predicted Max Verstappen to win the race on the show. I still think he will. Qualifying didn't really deter me. I just think that Red Bull is just faster than the Mercedes, especially at a track like this where the corners are a little bit. There's some low speed, but there are some high speed corners. There's not as many straights, which is the Mercedes is notoriously strong on. I think this is a Red Bull race, and now the range just played into their strategy, like you said, with the soft tires. I mean, they're all going to be on the inters really early. Like, it just means that Max will get the quickest start if anyone can get it. So,
yeah, that's very true. The fact that it rained overnight, the F3 race was entirely wet, so the softs is going to give them a massive advantage off the line. They said yesterday about 5 to 6 meters off the start. It's going to be worth at least 10 now that all the rubber's washed off, for the mediums won't work as well. So my prediction is Verstappen's going to lead into turn 1, and Bottas will collect Hamilton. So
a Nico Rosberg Lewis Hamilton event, huh?
Yeah, I have no faith in Bottas right now. I have no faith to even control that car.
I mean,
especially in the wet.
Like, I'm not even a Mercedes fan, right? I'm a McLaren fan, number 1. Like, I want to see Daniel Ricciardo climb that ladder. I want to see Lando Norris on the podium, but I'm a Lewis Hamilton fan. All I need is Bottas to block Lando Norris for Max Verstappen for half a lap, which he couldn't do every other chance he's had this year. He just needs to do it for half a lap for the team. But like you said, I don't have any confidence in him to do that job. He knows he's not in that seat next year. He really doesn't care anymore. So, yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I think it will be a Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton. Bottas will spin somewhere, and Lando Norris will come in and pick up that 3rd position. I hope to God.
I mean, the last wet race, was that Imola? Was it Imola? I'm pretty sure it was Imola. And you saw how that went.
Yeah. Yeah.
Battered George Russell. Well, actually, to be fair, that was George's fault. But he shouldn't have been fighting for P10 anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know, man.
We'll move away from the front, guys, because everyone talks about that. Middle of the pack, drivers like Alonso, who's been on fire for Alpine all season, can he continue that and maybe push close to that sort of top 5 finish? Because
I think top 5 might be a stretch today. I reckon the Ferraris
has raced.
Oh, you just cut out then.
Yep. I'm looking at my Wi-Fi.
Right.
It's
okay.
Terrible.
You're
Thanks,
back.
roommates.
Yeah. Yeah. Alonso. Yeah. I don't think the Alpine has quite the race pace of the Ferraris and the McLarens, but if anyone's going to make the difference, it is Alonso. I mean, we saw in the sprint race he was insane. I don't know what Jason was on about, saying he was driving like an amateur. That's utter bullshit. Yeah. He's a 2-time world champion. He knows what he's doing. That was not illegal. It was perfect defensive driving. Shut up, mate. I don't know what you're on about.
Like a veteran.
Yeah, exactly. That's what world champions do.
Yeah. He knew what he had to do. He made up the spots and he held it.
Yeah. What's wrong with that? But if I was going to put my money on anyone apart from Max and Lewis to make a difference in the wet, it's Alonso. So he could be on for a top 5. It all depends on the start, I think. If the McLarens and the Ferraris get a good start, I think it's game over.
I'm actually more. I think Leclerc, as I called him, Mr. Mr. Consistency, unfortunately, which is clearly Lando Norris. But I think he's going to have. If you know the weather, it's so hard to predict this race. If it's a dry race, I think Leclerc goes pretty good. He looked pretty quick in qualifying in the practice sessions. Yeah. But the wet race, like who's good in the wet? Like Lewis, Max is pretty good. Daniel Ricciardo can go all right in the wet. Alonso's pretty good. Kimi is good in the wet. Actually, no, he's not. He's terrible. We just did that on Blast from the Past, but. You know, this is
Lando wasn't bad in the way either, so it's anyone's game at the moment, and you know it's the big car equalizer. But the thing with this one is it's changeable conditions. If you remember back into the Jenson Button days, this is his sort of conditions right here.
Yeah.
So it all comes down to who's got the best car control, and that's Max, Lewis, Fernando, Lando. Seeing what we've been seeing so far from him this year, he's been absolutely on fire. Driver of the year by far, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
he's being insane, and he deserves either a massive contract extension with McLaren, which he's already got, or potentially in a shout for that Mercedes seat. Dare I say? Right now, I would prefer Lando in that Merc over George. Right now,
I mean he's in form, but. I think it's Georgia. I think his contract's already signed for Georgia. I think it's maybe a play for Lando in a couple of years when Lewis. Surely he doesn't go after these next 2 seasons. He's got 2 years left on his contract. Surely he doesn't go again. I know he's saying and joking around that, you know, I've got a lot of racing left in me, but surely he doesn't go around again. Like, he can't.
Yeah. I mean, how old is he now? He's 36, 37. You know, he hasn't got many years.
This year, yeah.
37. Yeah, he hasn't got many years left in him, but he's still performing at the top of his game. You never know. You see how Alonso's performing, and he's 40.
I was just going to say that, yeah.
So
maybe
you never know.
A Lando Lewis swap, Lando to Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton finishes off at McLaren. The one thing I meant to mention it on the show, but I think Daniel Ricciardo, he's got this race and the rest of the season to prove. Still good enough.
Oh no!
He's injured. I'm still here.
I think we got about 3 words of that.
All right. They're about to start the formation lap. Daniel Ricciardo, he has this race and the rest of the season to prove that he's worth it because he hasn't done enough at McLaren. The change to Renault, I reckon if he stuck that out another couple of years, it would have been better for him. If he can't get this car sorted by the end of the season, I think there's a big chance of dropping out of the top category because McLaren can't afford to have a second driver that can't compete with the number 1. They've been terrible for too long. They need to have a second driver that's as good, if not better, than the first. So he's got the rest of this season, and I hate saying that because I'm an Aussie and I love him, but I got to be real.
Yeah, I think the biggest mistake McLaren have made in the recent times was letting go Carlos Sainz. I think he was perfect for that seat. He is severely underrated. He is top 6 drivers in my book on the grid. He is matching Leclerc this year. He had a very unfortunate crash in Q2.
Q2, yeah.
Wasn't his fault. It was a 35-kilometer gust of wind, which is very odd. Yeah. Not even the best could save that sort of thing. So we'll see. Hopefully Ricciardo picks up the pace because I think we'd all agree we'd love to see him do well. I don't know a single person who doesn't like him. and he's a great
Jason,
driver.
Okay.
Well, yeah,
I mean, that
but you
don't count.
can't not love Daniel Ricciardo. He is just a
No.
class. He's a great human. He's a great driver. We've seen that before when he was at Red Bull and at Renault.
Yep.
He will find his form at some point. It's just how long will it take?
So before the race, before the formation lap, they are now on the intermediates by the look of it. So
Yeah,
I guess it's been declared a wet race. So this is going to be interesting.
enjoy it.
Yeah, we will probably be back for a post-race show. It will be 1 a.m. in Australia where I'm at, so it'll be pretty late. But you know, if Lewis wins, I'll have adrenaline, or if Lando Norris wins, there'll be an adrenaline rush. So I'll have to
Keep
say
the asterisks in your eyes.
Yeah, I got some beers here with me, so I'll just keep drinking them. Although that one's empty.
All right, man.
All right,
Well,
we'll see you
enjoy
after
the race, everyone.
Enjoy the race, guys.
See ya.